Oh. How did you do that?
Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. It's been quite a while since we've posted a video, but yeah, it's been the whole quarantine and stuff, and I do not have the other guys with me physically, but they are here with the spirit and in the video. So we've just hit 40k subscribers, and as promised, every 10k we're gonna do Q&A, and this is what it is. So say hi guys.
Hi guys, how you doing?
Let's start just out of the get-go. I've got the list of questions from you guys. This is from the comments and all the other stuff that you're doing on social media that the guys compiled for me, and I'm just gonna read out to them and we'll see what they say. First question: do you have any hints and tips on Cisco?
I mean, that's a very broad question, isn't it? Hints and tips on Cisco for what? Like learning Cisco? Cisco
I assume
hardware?
we could speak about the training and then the hardware and like what kind of lab anyone can set up in their homes to be successful in succeeding in like a networking career.
Yeah. I mean, you can kind of do whatever you want, really. I don't see that you need all this equipment to be able to do it, or that you need to go out and buy courses to be learning Cisco. You can pay, I don't know, like £10 or something for a one cheap course on the internet, and sometimes you get the packet tracer bundled and whatever you. But packet tracer is good, as I've used it before. It was part of one of my courses that I did a long time ago, but I found that switching from packet tracer to actual hardware was a bit different because some of the commands that you use are not the same. The one that always gets me is the show interface description. You try to use that in hardware and it works, right? And then you go and stick it into the packet tracer. You're like, well, sorry, what? And it just kicks you out. Like, I don't understand what this command is. So there are those kind of weird things that happen, but if you haven't got much money and you want to just play about, then yeah, if you can get something that's bundled packet tracer with it, then go for that. There are lots of free things on the internet, and you can just Google. Normally when I've come up across an issue, if I just Google it, there will be some random guy that's put a random post on the internet that you find, and that will normally be your answer. Personally, I did go out and buy loads of hardware as well. I had like 5 or 6 routers, and I still have them. They're just not together, shall we say. They're in parts everywhere, so the lab doesn't exist anymore at the moment. But anyway, at least that's that's my view on it.
Yeah.
There are also, I found a place that you can go and rent lab space from. You can select a time slot, and they'll give you access to routers and whatever you, and then you can just go and play there. So
it's lab as a service,
I would say. Yeah.
But then again, eBay is your friend, and you can find tons of hardware if you really want it for cheap, and you really don't need latest and greatest. Just any router for lab will do. Just any Cisco iOS based device will get you through any lab stuff that you need.
Yeah, I mean, you could start off with 2 physical routers, the Cisco 2811s there. They're still nice and have all the features that you need, and you don't need to buy any licenses for them or anything because they normally come with it all. And at least then you have the experience with the actual hardware and updating the iOS and bits, which is what you wouldn't get if you was using packet tracer, for example. So you could spend like 60 quid for 2 routers, and then you'd be done.
Yeah, so to summarize, just start with packet tracer and progress from there. That's our advice. Alright, moving on. Let's go for the second question. How often do we test generators by cutting off mains power?
Every month.
Once a month.
That's it. Every single month we'll go
every single month we're cutting mains power, we're switching to the generator power, and every data center from here on out for about an hour, is it? But we do the test.
We normally do it for about 4 hours, and we'll run chillers up to 100% for about half an hour, so that we get full load on the generators, just so that we can test for a worst case scenario. Both chillers at 100%, all of our cooling systems ramped up, everything. So yeah, I mean it's handled it all well so far. Touch wood. I don't want to jinx it, but especially not with what's going on at the moment. But no, it's it does do us a lot of stress sometimes, because the ATS is, you turn the key sometimes and then nothing, and you think, has it broken? And then all of a sudden it'll jump into life. But yeah, I mean every month is pretty standard. We'll start the gens every month on load, and every couple of weeks we'll just turn them on, spin them up, make sure that they start okay without producing any errors. So yeah, it's all automated, so it's normally something that goes quite smoothly. I mean, occasionally you have a hiccup every now and then, but it's nothing critical, nothing that's going to affect service. It's normally like a light doesn't come on when it should, sort of thing, versus it not actually switching.
Yeah, that's the reason why we're doing these tests.
Yeah, exactly.
Every random bug here and there that's gonna come up, we're gonna make sure that it's gonna be fixed.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we want those errors to come up in a controlled environment, not when the power goes off for real.
Exactly.
So.
A follow-up question to this.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna expand it a little bit. The question, as it says, is how long can we last just on UPS? Which is not that long, because it's asking for how many hours. It's not gonna be within hours, it's gonna be within minutes.
Yeah, it's I think it depends on the UPS. Some UPSs have different levels of load. I mean, you're typically looking at about 10-15 minutes on most of them, but that is just kind of the time between power failure and generators starting, so that's all that is.
Exactly.
The UPS isn't there to provide power when the power goes off. That's what the generators are for. The UPS is there to kind of take the load while the generators start up, synchronise, connect to the bus and all that stuff. So it only needs, the gens take like 20-30 seconds to be ready to provide load. So it's,
so when we have 15 minutes on average, that's lots of headroom.
Yeah, that's a lot of headroom. I mean, some of the other UPSs have like 40 minutes, but we don't even touch a minute on battery in the event of a failure. It just switches.
From my experience, whenever there's a power cut, we go down to 99% of load of charge on the batteries.
Yeah,
and then we go back to 100% because the batteries will charge up from the generators.
Yeah, and it's like seconds to switch. It's not long, and like you say, Raf, the battery percentage, it goes from 99 and then back up to 100. That gap between 99 and 100 is so small, it doesn't actually use a whole 1%. It probably uses like 0.5% of battery. So we're protected.
Right, let's move forward. Next question. Would you guys explain the reason behind the coloring of our network cables?
Yeah, so the idea of the colouring of the network cables is so that you know what's what, essentially. We provide a red and a green, and originally this was how we would say, oh, this is your A feed and this is your B feed. But we don't really do that so much anymore, because you can use both feeds individually and use them at the same time rather than one or the other. So we don't really call them A and a B anymore. But if someone says A and B, we just roll with it. So what that means is that if we've got a customer that says, oh, can you have a look at my cable, and then we can ask them just which colour it was. Sometimes they don't always record the labels or find the labels on the cables, so it's just easier to say red or green for your internet feed, and that's kind of how they know what's going on. And then we do other colours as well. So blue is an interconnect between racks, or an interconnect, say, for a backhaul up to telehouse or something. So it's a good way to differentiate between your internet feeds and other feeds, essentially. And then I do other colours for other things, like grey is the internal, like services, for example, or I think there's some violet somewhere, but don't ask me where that is. It was probably just a good idea at the time.
I know that what that is. That's Cat 6 that we bought initially, and
yes,
purple was not Cat 6.
And I suppose it's also worth noting that the fibres are different colours as well, but that's not out of choice. It's because single mode is mostly always yellow, unless I specifically ask them, can you make it a different colour? And then multi-mode is normally blue, but sometimes it comes in like a pinky violet or another random colour. Orange, sometimes you get it in as well. So then the fibres aren't specifically in a colour to denote a feed. It is just what it is. You have to look at the label for those ones. But as I say, we label everything properly anyway. They've all got a unique identifier and where they come and where they go to, so we know what's going on. So as you can imagine, we've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cables, and they all span across different sites and different racks and things, so it gets complicated fast.
Yeah, so labeling essentially is that's what's needed in the data center environment. Moving onwards, how do we disconnect and test the active multi-mode fiber link without interrupting the service?
You can't. Someone will notice. You can test a link while it's live using like a TDR on the network device. Some Cisco devices support TDR, but you wouldn't be able to do that on the fiber. You would be looking at the live light levels, and if you was getting any loss or CRCs or frame errors or something like that while the fiber was connected. But if you wanted to find the actual problem in the span, you would need to disconnect both ends, stick a TDR tool onto one end, and then send a lot of light down it and hope the other side did actually disconnect before they go blind or blow something up. But yeah, I mean, even if you was trying to do a man-in-the-middle attack on the fibre, you would still need to cut it, stick your device in, and then reconnect. But I'm sure if someone asked you to say, oh, it was probably just a digger somewhere.
And that has happened.
It did.
Not the man-in-the-middle attack, but the digger, yeah.
Yeah, the digger, not the man-in-the-middle.
Alright, next question. If a component fails in a server, does the server report this as an alarm to the NOC or to the customer?
Yeah, I don't know if Ash wanted to reply then. He was like poised to answer.
No, I was reading the rest of the question. It actually spans across multiple lines. So obviously we monitor our own infrastructure, so our own internal servers, CCTV, access control, the lot, and obviously our network. So all of our internal devices will send alerts to us, be it an SMS, an email, a syslog event on one of our monitoring systems. You know, there's a lot of different points it can actually alert us. For customer stuff, it's up to them how they configure their stuff. They might have alerting set up, some do, some don't. You have some customers that proactively know that a disk is about to fail and they'll ask us to change it. Other customers will call us up and say, why is my server failed, can you look at it? And because they haven't got monitoring set up or alerting, they don't know. I think looking at the actual question, internally we monitor stuff with a proactive approach, so we set alerts up more for before it fails versus when it fails, so that we can pick it up before it actually fails. Things like a disk failure isn't really a problem because everything's resilient. However, other things such as like RAM randomly failing, that can actually cripple your server. So, you know, some things we have to act on when it happens. I mean, the other day we had a disk fail in one of our servers, but one, we knew it was failing, so we swapped it, and it didn't affect anything purely because of what it is. It's in a RAID array that is very resilient, so, you know, we spot problems before they become more than just a flashy light. So yeah, I mean, for our stuff it's all monitored. We've got monitoring video. I will try and convince the creative guys to put whatever it is in the corner. and that kind of goes over some of our internal monitoring systems. But yeah, it's down to the customer to monitor their kit in their rack. That's not what we do.
Okay. Moving on. Next question. Here's a good one. How the operating system is installed in data centers. So, how do we install operating systems in a data center? Is the exact same way as everyone else in the world installs operating systems. Which means we either make a bootable flash drive and we stick it in and install operating software, or I remember you, James, once configured a Pixie server for us, and we could get that to get operating system installed from the network. Do you want to expand on the Pixie server, James?
Yeah.
I thought you froze.
I was tempted just to not say anything and not move for a bit there. Yeah. So a few years ago, I had a lot of computers to deploy, and I was getting a bit fed up with just using USB stick and pressing enter a few times and installing Windows. So I created a Pixie boot server just in Windows Server, a few scripts to install all of the software by default that I needed. It would add it to the domain, it would install all the drivers and update it, and then I would literally just go and move the computer when it was done. So saves a lot of time, those kind of things. They're good. You can set it up in Windows or you can set it up in Linux. There's a Linux free package for it, I'm sure. I remember looking at it before. So if you've got a large deployment you need to do, then Pixie is a good way to do it. It also means that you can boot OSs off it all the time, so you don't actually need any physical disks in a server, for example. You can have an image somewhere, you can just Pixie boot off of the network port, it will load the OS, and then you're good to go every time. You'll find a few virtualization systems use that kind of method. So yeah, I use it in my lab as well, because it's a pain in the rear when you want to add a disk and install a new OS when you can just get it to boot off of Pixie and then just do it. So it's a nice little system.
Cool. There's another one here for you, James. Actually, both of you, because you both deployed and cabled that rack that we filmed for YouTube. And there was the yellow and blue tool that you guys used to get all the cables neat and tidy. We've got lots of people asking what it's called so they can get it themselves.
Yeah. So I have it with me. Here it is. Look, it's as big as my head. It comes in. It splits into two parts here. So you put your cables in this, which looks like a comb, and then this bit holds it, and then you just drag it down the cables. You have to buy them from the United States because there's a company there. It's a patented tool, and that seemed to be the only place I could get it from. And it's just called a cable comb. So if you Google cable comb, I think you would probably find it. They did have a YouTube channel and some videos on how to use their tool, so you should be able to find them pretty easy. The shipping was quite expensive to the UK, but it was worth it, in my opinion.
Worth the time it saved.
Yeah.
And the
I mean, you can do what I did with the tool with your hands, and there are some really good people out there that are a pro at not using a tool and doing it just with their fingers. But yeah.
It does save lots of time when you do it with that thing there.
Yeah, and it looks awesome when it's done.
So there you go.
It's all about the aesthetics.
Alright, now I have a section here for funny questions. The question says, but can it host a Minecraft server?
Define it. What is it?
Yeah,
I'm only saying what the cards say. Can it host a Minecraft server? Can we host a Minecraft server? Yes, we can.
Yeah, something tells me that might have been on the rack and stack we done for that client, where we used the cable comb. In answer to the question, yes. It
So
can.
the answer is yes, it can host
Yeah.
a Minecraft.
Funnily enough, James and I had some experiments yesterday with a Minecraft server and lots of TNT
Yeah.
on a cloud environment, which was quite interesting. So it depends on the environment. You know, James's cloud, yes. CCTV camera, probably not. Although, let's give it a go. Next video.
Next thing is not exactly a question, it's a statement.
Okay.
So this is where the memes are stored.
Yes, it is.
Yes, yes, we store memes.
We've been foiled. We are the meme store.
Okay, let's move forward. That's it.
Nothing more to add.
Okay, there's another. I'm not certain how to address it. I think it's about me. I think it's fair to say it's about me. He's cute. Is he Scandinavian? Yes, I'm cute. Thank you. And I am not a Scandinavian. Thank you.
Oh,
No, but
someone's at the door.
okay, let's move forward. We're just gonna leave it as it is. I'd enjoy. Okay, here we have a request for the future videos.
Yep.
And I think we both, we all agreed that we're gonna do a straw poll on what the next video should have been, because they're all nicely categorized into power, cooling, and networking.
Mm.
So in other words, would you like a power video? Would you like a cooling video? Would you like a network video? And we're gonna leave a straw poll somewhere in the description of this Q&A, and then you can go and post your vote. And with that, we are done. That's all the questions I had in my card. Unless there's...
Probably we'll just leave the poll open, right, until we go and actually make the next video, so there isn't like a time limit on it. We'll just decide when we go to film which one it will be.
I don't think we should make the
be a
results
surprise.
public. We should surprise the guys with what it is, so only we see the results.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, we can do that, and then we can post the result at the end or the start of the video.
Yep, sounds good to me.
Alright, thank you for joining us in this nice and quarantined environment. We're all social distancing, and so should you. Remember to cast a vote in the straw poll we're hosting. Like the video, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys.
Yep, see you later.